sad. We kept telling them it's the 4th of July. We all know that. We know you're going to pop firecrackers. We telling everybody in the neighborhood, do not pop the firecrackers in the street because y'all can burn down somebody's house. And I think they thought we was playing. They done sat down, burned. Y'all see Miss Barbara's house. They done sat down, burnt Miss Barbara's house down. Am I mad? No. I'm happy her house got burnt down. She was on Section 8. She would never move. She was so annoying. She thought I wanted her man. And she tried to get her niece to fight me one time. Number one, you know I can't fight. You done seen me get dragged and everything by Keisha. I'm not doing that. And then her niece, she got a dialogue tattoo on her, a dialogue clock. I said, what time does that say on your arm? What time is it on your tattoo? She didn't know. Why would I sit here and argue with somebody that got a dialogue arm, a dialogue tattoo, and you don't even know what time it is? I'm not doing that, actually. Like, that's not, I don't get down like that. I can't fight, and I'm not finna act like I can fight, but I'm happy her stuff got burned down. I don't really, then she really mad at me. I'm just ranting right now because I don't really got nobody to talk to. I don't have no friends or nothing like that, but I don't know why. I don't have friends. But actually mad because she looked at me like I thought that was her. She looked at me like I was her sister, and she used to tell me all her secrets and stuff like that and expected me to keep it to myself. But we're not real sisters, so why would you expect me not to tell your business? I tell my own blood business. I done told y'all about my mama, my daddy, my sister, my, you know. So yes, I told your business. That's just how I do. Now all of a sudden you don't like me and you want to fight. That's not, we're not doing it. But
on her dialogue
you
clock.
push play on here, we're not gonna say that about Ashley because she know how to fight for real, and I ain't finna fight. I can't fight. So we're gonna leave that part out. But we can go whenever you're ready. It's a tragic that Miss Barbara's house got burnt down. Like we kept telling everybody, don't pop the. What you mean is live?
BBRNradio.net
over the internet.
The station that's home with your wife.
Oh my
While you're
God.
at work, we keep her company. We keep her happy.
What's up, guys?
Hey, guys.
That's today's generation. I don't care who you are, what you are. You never know when you're on camera.
I have an issue.
You know what? Hold on a second, because I want to say, I want to give her credit because she was like, I can't fight.
Yeah.
And for you to admit that, that is like, that's balls. So what's your issue?
My issue is, why does the news or whoever always have to go into neighborhoods of color and find the most ghettoist person that doesn't speak that great? I'm trying to pick my words carefully and put them on.
Because Whole Foods don't have fights and burn down fireworks. What are they going to do? Go into Whole Foods and find
You don't know where that is.
Karen versus Karen? I mean,
But my favorite part was she was like, I'm glad her house got burned down. Ooh, I'm so sorry that her house got burned down.
you realize a lot of these are just skits, but it could be real. Just like the I ain't got time for that girl. That lady was real.
That was hilarious, though.
Well, you know what? Most of the funny things and it's not basically something that's just funny because it's ghetto, because most of the fun times are in the ghetto. You don't see people at church having a good time like that, or people at Wall Street having a good time like that. You know what I mean? It's not stereotyping. It's just when I hung out, I always hung out in Waterbury.
Like that. There's just usually cocaine or something involved.
Yeah, but I always hung out in Waterbury, not Naugatuck.
You also have to realize, too, that there are plenty of people of non-color or pale color who are just as stupid, if not stupider, than that young lady. I mean, what was that? The Hawk Tour girl who's making whatever money she's making now just for what she did online. I think she's. I mean, this girl who we just saw was infinitely funnier. I'd rather hang out with her than the Hawk Tour girl.
But have you been watching the Hawk Tour girl videos? She's actually not that person. She just tells jokes, and she was telling people to stop DMing her. She turned down Playboy.
What did she do? Because I don't know anything about her.
You never seen it?
No.
Hang on a second.
BBRNradio.net.
Okay. Hit that button.
I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago, didn't when we were here?
We did.
Yeah.
But Lisa obviously doesn't.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention, or I just pretended I knew what you guys were talking about. I was trying to be cool.
All right. I can't believe you've never seen it. Here we go.
Got it? All right.
Wrong one.
I hear sound, but no picture.
No, because these people always got to add the commentary to it.
And
Hang on a second.
all right.
I'm trying to do everything with a mouse finger instead of a real mouse. I gotta buy a real mouse.
A mouse figure? What do you mean?
The finger pad. I got a finger
Oh,
pad.
finger. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
The man go crazy every time.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing.
How do you get over it?
You see, that's why she's famous.
He's
Our,
famous.
our generation is ridiculous. Not our generation, but this generation. But she's making millions of dollars off of it. So God bless her. But
Other videos. I don't even get it.
it wasn't even a video. It was a 2-minute interview.
Huh.
It was a guy in the middle of Broadway. And if you've ever been to Nashville, Broadway's a very popular road. He was in there doing interviews, and he goes, "How do you please your man?" And she's like, "You got to grab that thing and spit on it and do a hawk too." And like just meaning like she was spitting a hawker.
Yeah.
And this generation is so ridiculous that they didn't realize we were saying hawk too fucking in the 70s. So they thought it was funny, and she's been viral for like 3 weeks now.
Iron Sheik saying Hawk 2 since the 80s. So
Yeah. We make that sound when we spit, right, Chris? And then,
Yeah, but is that something pleasurable to get? I mean, on you guys are guys. I mean, does that?
I'll tell you what, if a woman spits on my dick, I'm kicking her out. Because you don't know what kind of germs can go down to your urethra and that. No. If saliva gets down there voluntarily, different. But if you're spitting from the nose and the throat,
that's nasty.
No, I'm not doing that. So
PPRN Radio, sponsored by the American Medical Association.
If the doctor's coming to you with a 4-inch Q-tip, you got problems. You were either in the war or you were in Bristol.
There's a war in Bristol.
There's a war in Bristol. All right, so if you guys are just tuning in, I want to. Who's in the chat already? Oh my God.
We have Bob Clark, who apparently says COVID won't stop him from watching. Bob, I hope you're doing well. Corey Michael Riemann is watching. Rick Grant, who I work with at Weekly Real Estate News, tuned in. Hi, Rick. He's out in Wisconsin. So we have not too many Connecticut references tonight because I don't think Rick's going to get all the Connecticut jokes. But good to see you here, Rick.
Hey, Rick, I'm from Connecticut. Call me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say call me or call me?
Call.
It sounded like call me, didn't it?
You know, it's funny. If you look in the comments, Corey mentions the Iron Sheik, which is because he did his own version of Hulk Tour, and it's kind of interesting that we have Iron Sheik mentioned because we have Chris Annino on our show, who is pro wrestling. Chris, did you ever work with Iron Sheik?
Yes, fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah, but is he annoying in real person or is he a good dude?
No, he's a nice guy. He is that what you see. And he was on a card that we were doing. He was doing more of an autograph thing because at that point he couldn't really walk. So I had to watch him for the day. And oh my God, there was some stuff that happened. He's like, hey, look, the promoter's like, make sure he doesn't drink, please, or do anything. Well, I was young, and he's like, and Sheik's like, listen, you dumb jabroni, you give me a beer. I'm like, I can't give you a beer, Sheik. You give me Heineken. So I said, okay, Heineken's not as bad. So I gave him a Heineken, and I got in trouble, and Sheik started screaming at me, I told you not to do this. And then I got in trouble for it, and then afterwards, like, you're a good jabroni. You're no longer jabroni. You're one of me now. I contact Vince McMahon for you. And that never happened. So thank you, Sheiky. But yeah, he used to do that in his promos, like, oh, you talk about Hulk Hogan, and he used to do that. So
how come he couldn't walk? He was drunk? I'm confused.
No. So Sheik, like Kaz, his real name, he actually was from Iran, and he was an amateur wrestler, and he was also the bodyguard for the whoever's in charge of the government over there, and like Secret Service type of thing, and really a badass. And he actually was the assistant coach for the Olympic team that went to Munich, actually, here. and just years of just worn out. He legit was a badass. He taught me about the Persian clubs. I have a version of that here actually. And I exercise with these Persian clubs, which are very hard to do. They weighted, and you have to like do it a certain way. Anyway, long story short, he is a very interesting human being, and as we all know, and God rest his soul, he passed away. So he was the first Haktua out of all of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Chris was also known for pulling a car. Was it a car or a truck, Chris?
I pulled a 3,000-pound SUV for a mile for the Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation. And as far as I know, I'm the only person that did that and has done that. I kind of want to do it again this year. It's 10 years later, so I don't really know. So I'm trying to focus more on my pro wrestling career, which I just came back from Tennessee. I worked at Handsome Jimmy Valiant's. He was a WWE Hall of Famer. And I wrestled down in Tennessee. And
So, Lisa, do you need a date or a bodyguard?
Both. But I think I remember you pulling the truck then. I remember hearing about that. And now that you're saying that, your face looks kind of familiar.
Thank you.
On the next Peter Pinho show, Chris and Nino joins as a couple.
Well, what are you doing? What are you doing this Saturday? Are you free?
Oh,
I am not. I have a gig, unfortunately.
go see her at her gig, buddy.
I was going to invite her to the Torrington wrestling show, but now I guess you can't come.
There's
Where's
a show
your
in
gig,
Torrington, Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday night at Aldo's in Middlebury.
That's not too far from Torrington.
That's your show, Lisa. I mean, I think Chris has a show in Torrington. What was the show there?
It's a pro wrestling show.
What time
I'm
does
going
it
to
start?
I think 6. I'm going against Richie
Oh,
Rich.
She don't start till 9. Go have a go.
No, it's 6 to 9. I'm too old to be doing shows at 9 o'clock anymore.
Yeah.
When I say show, I'm performing with my band before people think other things when I say show.
Well, your middle name says Minx, and there's a Minx in Harvard.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe Lisa can get mixed into Chris's wrestling routines, the way that Cyndi Lauper used to do it with Captain Lou. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Do you have psoriasis, Chris? Because she can sing you a melody or something.
Melody on Sarai, that'd be nice.
Yeah, Cyndi
I
Lauper
don't have a song, so if she can come up with a song, that'd be nice.
Yeah, we could do that.
Oh,
we can talk off camera.
Phil, I think we're getting a love connection here, but we're forgetting about Angel.
Yeah, Angel's sitting there very patiently saying, "What am I doing on the show?" Yes,
we got one guy who's really bright in the outside, and one guy who looks like he's in Biden's chamber planning the next war. What's that map behind you?
It looks very Bryan Cranston-esque, I'm telling you. Until
it's
he's
dark in there.
Yeah.
I see Providence on the map behind you, Angel. What's the map all about?
That map is the State Senate District 5, which I've decided to run in. I'm in process right now of collecting signatures to get on the ballot. I'm still short, and the due date is this coming Friday to submit everything to the Board of Canvassers, and then next week I'll find out if I get on the ballot or not.
What's your affiliation?
Exciting. What state?
Rhode Island.
Is it Democrat, Angel?
I'm running as a Republican in a city.
You are?
Yeah. It's a very blue section of a very blue city in a very blue state. So it's going to be a real challenge, but, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Okay. So sorry. I have to ask you a question. A serious question.
Okay.
My dad is a Vietnam vet. He had gotten lost in the system. I'm a real estate agent that specializes in working with veterans. So my serious question is, can you or talk to someone in the government to make it, we want to keep America safe and we obviously need our soldiers. So why does our government make it so difficult for our veterans to get their service-connected benefits, number one? You have to jump literally through hoops. You have to go here. And then if that's not good enough, then you got to go here. And it takes years. I haven't talked to one single person I deal with, vets, cops. Every time I've had fundraisers, Pete knows. Why does it take snap of the fingers to send money overseas to help other countries, which I know that we need to, but our vets that come home, For PTSD, why did they get denied? Hello, I was in a war zone. I saw my friend die. I should just get service-connected benefit for that. Why does that take so long? To put you on the spot. Sorry, Angel.
No, you're not putting me on the spot. First off, I'm running for state Senate, not U.S. Senate. And the U.S. senators would be involved in something like that, and the congressman would be involved in something like that too. But to answer your question, the reason why that happens is strictly politics and also bureaucracy.
Right. So what can I do as just a little person to talk to the powers that be, especially in an election year, to change that? Yes, I get you're only running for state, not only. That's a big thing. But it just always seems like everybody kind of passes the buck. How do you get to the, Chris Murphy's the senator, the U.S. senator for our state. How can I talk to him? You try to call these people. You can't. My dad lives in Florida. Gus Bilirakis is the congressman in his state. I've used his office to put in congressional inquiries to get his benefits sped up, but you can't ever really talk to anybody. So how do people like us, besides saying just vote, really get people to listen to issues like that? Because it seems to me that politicians just prop up veterans as a prop, a photo op.
If you're working strictly as an individual, they're not going to pay attention to you. They don't give a shit about you. That's just the reality.
You gotta go.
No, it's just the reality.
Right.
Martin Scorsese once said the history of America is the history of its gangs. And it's by forming a gang with a group of people that causes trouble that will get you attention. And how effective that gang is going to be will determine the success of whatever issue that you're involved in. And this goes back to the Sons of Liberty. The American Revolution didn't start all by itself. It was started by a gang called the Sons of Liberty. And the same thing is true today. If you want to form a group outside of the political parties, you can either take over the political party the way that the hardcore left has with the Democrat Party, or MAGA has in the Republican Party, or you can create a parallel organization the way that the LGBTQ people have. They've had tremendous success in getting what they want because they've shown that they have the numbers, they have the clout, and they're willing to primary people if necessary, go in the general elections, and they get what they want. I mean, take a look at, if you're old enough to remember what happened during the controversies in the 80s regarding AIDS. Initially, the politicians ignored the people that were affected by AIDS, whether they were gay, intravenous drug users, or anything like that. It's not until they got organized and they had people that were putting together groups and gangs and stuff like that and affecting them politically. It wasn't until that happened that they finally turned around and actually started pouring money into AIDS research. So you've got to do the same thing, whether it's a veterans organization or a group of people that care about the veterans or anything like that. And until you convince the powers that be that you have the clout to remove them from office, they're just going to ignore you.
All right, so Angel, let me ask you a question.
That was.
Let me ask you a question. You and I've noticed this too, and I've learned. And if you've noticed, I know people are going to say something, so let me finish. But if you notice, Trump's approach this year is he's very quiet. He's very quiet. Someone must have told him to shut up. He listened or something. He's not. I mean, he's still making his little funny names and everything, but he's not as bad as he used to. So now that you're running, that's why I asked you what affiliation, because if you ever notice, if you've gone to a place to where you're having a conversation, you're talking politics, you didn't bring out your affiliation, someone's starting to believe in what you're trying to say, and then at the end of the conversation, they're like, so who are you affiliated with? And you say Republican, and they say you're a fucking piece of shit. But the whole meantime, they were going with you and going along with you. So have you been finding out that in the race, when you run for a certain affiliation, that someone will listen to you until they find out who you're actually running with? And what upsets me is that they agreed with you until they heard the word Republican or Democrat. Because both sides do it. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not even going to say one does it worse than the other. Everybody knows my affiliation, but I'm trying to be neutral here. So I'm trying to say, when they find out who you're affiliated with, does the conversation just like go in one way, different direction?
Well, generally, what I normally say is that I'm a Republican right off the bat. And so even if it's people that are left of center or anything like that, they generally are curious. Some of them do shut you off. There's no doubt about that. But the ones that are really thoughtful, they will say, well, are you MAGA? Because that's their big concern. And I'll say, no, I'm a rock and roll Republican. I used to be Democrat. I'm not a Republican. MAGA, there's a lot of things I agree with because they're a nationalist movement, and I believe in nationalism, not globalism. But I don't like how it's turning into a cult of personality. And that's what I don't like about it. Whether it's left or right, cult of personalities are very scary, and they scare a lot of people that are unaffiliated, who don't belong to either party. And then I point out to them that as a rock and roll Republican, I want to take the best of both parties. I want to take the best of the Republican Party and take the best of the Democrat Party. People forget when the party was first founded, the Republican Party was a liberal party. It was opposed to slavery. It supported the rights of women. It was opposed to polygamy and believed in a strong central government. Over time, that started to change. And because the party became very successful, at the point where they were forgetting what their popularity was, they started to fall apart. And they would have some times where they would get back on the scene again, especially like during Reagan, Trump when he got elected the first time. But the only way the Republican Party is going to win over those people is that they have to win over the idea that they have their roots in being liberal in the American sense. If they become corporate, if they become globalistic, they lose people, and justifiably so. Just the way the Democrats who've become corporate have been losing people. The Republican base and the Democrat base have a lot in common, especially people involved in the labor movement. They have a lot in common, but they're being pitted against each other by the corporate elites in both parties. The corporate elites do not want the grassroots people to unite against them, because the minute they do, they're going to overwhelm the elites, because the elites, they're very wealthy, but they don't have the numbers to sustain themselves. And that's why they have to pit grassroots Republicans against grassroots Democrats. They have to demonize them. And it's not just in America. This is happening in Europe as well. When you saw the farmer protests in the Netherlands, that spread over to Germany, it spread over to France, it spread over to England. People are realizing that the corporate globalists want to control the country, they want to control the nations, they want to control the world. And they have to get rid of the working class, they have to get rid of the farmers, they have to get rid of the small businessmen. And unless people wake up and realize who their common enemy is, then the globalists will succeed.
So that's what I mean. Like,
It's Marxism.
yes, and here's the thing, because Lisa feels very, very. She's got a very heavy opinion about Republicans, but she's also my friend. That's what I'm trying to, and she's also on the show.
Well,
So
hang on one second.
she doesn't give. Hang on, Lisa. She doesn't give me that look like she gives when she hears the word Republican, because she knows me. So I think, because she knows I'm the least prejudiced. She knows that. And she knows I'm the least whatever. I've been through things in my town, because Portuguese was basically taboo in Naugatuck. Like, it was, you're from Portugal? Like, ignorant people were like, what the hell's a Portugal? You know what I mean? Like, I went through it too. What I'm saying is, I think you hit the nail on the head. And if everybody's listening, I know today's show took a little turn differently, but you hit the nail on the head when you said it's elites. Because elites are the one that don't want Republican or liberal poor people in Disney. That's why it's $190 to get into Disney. You know what I'm saying? Like, the elites don't want you in Greenwich. That's why it's $6,000 a month for an apartment in Greenwich. You know what I'm saying?
Peter, tell me if I'm wrong on this, okay? Because I've been following this. My degree was actually in sociology originally. The way I see it is the theory that Angel has is being potentially utilized for potential civil war, and all these rich people, quote unquote, will sit back and watch all of us fight. What happened during COVID? Riots, looting. We went against each other. When 9/11 happened, right? 9/11 happened, everyone helped each other. So a traumatic event like 9/11, which God forbid, that was horrible. Everyone worked as a team. Everyone helped one another. When all this other stuff happened, who put that in all our heads? Media, right? So media is the most important. Media is the most powerful thing right now. And
yeah, but Chris, I'll give you an example. Like the 12 of us can walk into a club.
Yeah.
And we don't even ask any of that. And we can all be laughing, dancing, having a swing of a great good time. Phil can take Lisa off her feet. You could take her off her feet. There's other people can take her off her feet. There's a gay guy in there. We're all laughing and dancing with him. And then we're all having a good time. And we all go to the, I'm going to date myself, Lisa. We all go to Howard Johnson's after the club.
Ojos.
And there's a conversation. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, who are you voting for? Trump. Fuck you, you racist. And you just spent the whole night with him. Why does that word change everything? Lisa,
for a lot of reasons, and I'm going to interject. First of all, you kind of spoke for me, and you just assumed that I was a staunch Democrat and anti-Republican.
No. I assumed because what prior shows you were kind of like anti-Trump, so that's.
I am anti-Trump, but I would be anti-Trump if he was a Democrat. I'm very. So you were talking to Angel about do people automatically just cut you off because you're Republican? I think that's ignorant. You got to listen to people's views, right? So my dad lives in Florida. My dad was a vet. He's very government. I think he supports Trump from the things that I've seen. His congressman in his district, Gus Bilirakis, is a Republican. That being said, from the things that they have done to help me put in congressional inquiries to try to get his service-connected benefits pushed through, wouldn't matter to me if they were Democrat or Republican. All I know is I called, I made some noise, like Angel said to do, which I kind of know is my personality anyway, and they helped me.
And that's what Chris just said.
Right. So
Chris said it don't matter what it was the media that did it. That's basically what Chris said.
It puts us in our heads. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, Trump has a way of, he has glorified being an asshole. He's glorified. There's people that have gone to jail, Pete, that you and I know from back in the day, sold drugs, whatever, that are felons. They can't get a freaking job at McDonald's, but he can, for some reason, incite a riot and have all these people go to the White House because he didn't agree with the election, even though it says peaceful transition when the elections happen.
All right, but you can say that, but Bridgeport is a liberal city, and they voted in Ganem twice.
And
so
again,
it works both ways.
But my point is that there's some disconnect somewhere, because how come if I'm a felon, I can't get a job at McDonald's or Walmart, but I can be the president of the United States?
Because Walmart and McDonald's are private entities.
I get that, but to
and
me,
the government is more lenient when it comes to felons.
Travel somewhere when he has to go represent the U.S., but wherever he's going, they don't let felons in. Plus, he's got immunity. Where does it stop? You just shoot whatever the fuck you want. Like it's a lot, and especially there's things that he said and done that are racist. I'm not saying all Republicans are racist, but some of the things that he supports, I don't see how you can ignore that those are racist ideologies.
I think it's more celebrities.
Hold on, Chris. What do you call if you don't vote for me, you're not black?
Who said that? And I think that's
Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Joe Biden said that to Charlemagne the God on TV.
Well, first of all, I don't like Charlemagne the God. I think
nobody does. Nobody does.
Second of all, I think that's just as ignorant of a
statement. So we can agree that both
support Biden instead of Trump. How do I feel after that debate? I think he should have been the man and said, you know what? I need to let somebody. My dad is 79. I see the issues that I'm dealing with him.
Yeah, but you say Trump comes off as racist. Half the comedians in the world do too. Because is Trump racist or is he honest?
Yes. He's not honest. I think he's a racist.
I don't know, because when Chris Rock says white people, it's funny.
Well, he says white people. We got brought
right, but we gotta do it. We gotta rock on eggshells when we say black people.
You're damn right, because he brought us over here in ships and shit. So
we didn't, though. That's my point. We didn't.
Okay,
we're our friends. We didn't.
My parents didn't have the right. When I was one of the first black families in Naugatuck and got made fun of, and I remember
that. I remember it was you, the Browns. I remember, and I was there with you.
Okay, right, and it's just.
You don't remember the whole Spinhead days at the high school?
Of course I do. I remember the Rockheads against
the Big Rumble. Yes, that was a big fight that I got my ass kicked for.
Can I interject something in here? And actually, it's sort of a question for Angel too. I was having a conversation the other day, with my mother, and it's about back in the 1950s. She had worked for Jacob Javits when he was in New York State Attorney General's office. He became a senator from New York. He was actually a liberal Republican. And she was talking about Javits and the other politicians from the 50s and into the 60s, men like Rockefeller, Barry Goldwater, Lindsay, Hubert Humphrey, et cetera, et cetera. And then we were talking about who today politicians are. And I said to my mother, you know, I get the impression that intelligent people don't want to get involved in politics anymore. You have people, either AOC on the left or Marjorie Taylor Greene on the right, and it doesn't seem to be the best and the brightest. And when I'm hearing Angel, who's more than capable of speaking and certainly has his act together, running for office, why are you doing this? Because you seem to be one of the few intelligent people who are willing to put yourself into an impossible situation like seeking elected office.
Yeah, why do you want to do that to yourself?
Yeah,
I agree.
I know.
I
Well,
would never want to.
this is the reason why. The person that I'm going to be running against, he got behind legislation that would have penalized people like me and my wife who refused to take the vaccine. His legislation would have gone after us financially through our taxes, and he would have gone after businesses that had employees who were unvaccinated. Those businesses would have been charged $5,000 per unvaccinated person per month. So the businesses would be forced to either force the employees to get vaccinated or they would fire them. And thankfully, enough people were outraged that they pulled back on that. But if you saw what's happened in New York State, where they passed a law which is being challenged in the courts to basically set up what people euphemistically call COVID concentration camps, similar to what they did in Australia. They set up COVID concentration camps so that if you refuse to have your kid vaccinated, the government child agency would take your kid away from you. And if you refuse to get vaccinated, they would put you into a tent and force you to get vaccinated. This being challenged in New York right now. I don't know what the current status is. So when I saw what happened in my state happen and what's happening in New York State, what's happening all over the world, I had to fight back. Now I know that, like I said before, we have
a caller. I'm sorry, Angel. We have a caller, but go ahead. No, go ahead. You keep going. I just want to let you know there's somebody there.
I live in a very blue section, a very blue city, a very blue state. And the problem with the Republicans is that they abandoned the urban areas decades ago. Their attitude was, let the Democrats have the urban areas. We'll take over the suburbs. We'll, fight in the suburbs. We'll fight in the small towns. And that turned out to be a disaster long term, because if you see in Texas, it may be a red state, but the urban areas are turning blue and the surrounding suburbs are turning purple. New Hampshire used to be a solid red state, the live free or die state. It's now a blue state, at least, most of the state. The northern New Hampshire is probably still red or purple, but that changed too, because the Democrats are, their ideology is a totalitarian ideology under its current leadership. And that's why they're going to keep on pushing what they're doing. And unless we stand up and fight, as Burke once said, Evan Burke said that all that's necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And he's absolutely right. And we have to fight back. Now, am I going to win? I have no idea. I know that it's a shot in the dark, but somebody has to stand up against these bastards. Somebody has to articulate what's right and wrong. Somebody has to defend our constitutional values, push back against these wannabe tyrants, and hopefully we can inspire people to start pushing back in the urban areas. The working class whites, the Black population, the Latino population, the Hispanic population. We have a lot in common, and we need to realize that our constitutional freedoms are being eroded, taken away from us by these elites in both parties that want to make sure that they stay powerful and we stay impoverished.
Stay still, Corey. God damn it. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna put a scenario here, and I want someone to answer me this. A state let me rephrase this. It's very known that in the lower income neighborhoods, menthol cigarettes are the choice cigarette of lower income. I'm not going to put a color on it, but lower income people who smoke weed, people who party, everything. A state put a ban on it. Was that a liberal state or a Republican state? Can someone answer me that?
It was liberal state.
It was a liberal state.
I wrote about it. I know which state it is. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So just by that, can we determine who's trying to control who? Because shouldn't an adult have the right to pick if he wants to smoke a menthol cigarette? I know it's a bad analogy, but come on.
Well,
You're
how
telling
about
me.
this for a second?
But here's the thing: you have the uproar where women are like, "This is my body, my choice," and I get that. I do, but those are my lungs, my choice.
Right, but if you're just like advertising, if you're advertising water is the worst thing for you in the entire world and blah 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 blah, and you have young impressionable people looking at that, that's a problem.
Lisa, you grew up in Naugatuck. Let me tell you something. We didn't have commercials or TV. We
Yes,
were we had aluminum foil on
well, we did too, but
well,
my
you were elite. I'm sorry.
I was not elite. I
I
grew
didn't
up,
have cable. But I'm telling you, in Naugatuck, we didn't have TV like we did now, or
well, nobody had TV like
or
we do
social
now.
media.
You
and
had
we
mental ads in
and
magazines.
Lisa, we grew up in a town with 33,000 people and 33 bars. We didn't need outside help to influence us.
But what
So-
I'm saying is,
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Phil. Go ahead.
Now, while Angel was speaking, I just remembered something going back to what Lisa said earlier about the veterans. I think folks who don't know Chris may not be aware of this, but Chris, you're a firefighter. And the firefighter, you mentioned 9/11, and after 9/11, the firefighters started to get something of a raw deal where at first they were treated as heroes, but when they got sick, they had to fight. How did they get their benefits? And can the veterans like Lisa's dad emulate what the firefighters did?
So this is what happened. And actually, during 9/11, my department, which is in Connecticut, when I was at my Connecticut department at the time, we were asked to go to help out. We were stationed in Staten Island.
you froze.
It froze.
Yeah.
Froze.
Chris, Corey, did you have a question while we wait for Chris?
No, I just wanted to say hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Chris.
Oh.
All right, Chris is back.
I'll speak when it's my time.
So,
Staten Island, you were at.
Sorry, Chris, you froze.
Yeah, we lost you at Staten Island.
Yeah, sorry. Staten Island, I was young. I was like 18, and like seeing a lot of things, right? PTSD, you name it, going through the roof. So we knew a lot of firefighters in New York, okay? There's some firefighters that lived in Connecticut that would go to New York, say 3 days on, 2 days off, or however it was in the city, whatever they do there. They tried to unionize something to like what Angel had said, get a group going, right?
Mm-hmm.
What had happened is they had no union. They had no anything. Nothing. None of this was ever planned. So people they utilized celebrities like Dennis Leary, who was on that show Rescue Me. John. Who's the guy who used to host the Daily Show? John
Daly.
John Stewart.
Yeah, John Daly's a cool dude. John Stewart. And John Stewart fought for years for the New York firefighters to get something out of this. And still they're getting screwed because you don't understand. It wasn't the explosion that killed people. It's the long-term effects from the explosion, which is the debris, all that stuff. Donna Summer. I know Donna Summer's sister, Linda Gaines. Donna Summer died of lung cancer, and she lived not too far away from where the 9/11 towers explosion happened. It's what she was breathing in. Tommy Price, the drummer for Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, a dear friend of mine, has health complications because he lived not too far away from what happened. It's not just the firefighters that caught it wrong, it's everyone else. But yes, I see where you're going with this. They were running in, they caught all this stuff and all this debris, and as a result, they all have health issues now. A lot of people are very sick and they're terminal if they're not dead already. Nobody stood up for the firefighters really or the EMS. They gave us our one day, hey, yay, rah, you are heroes and whatever else. Well, that doesn't mean a lick of crap if they're not being helped.
And
You
that
know,
disgusts me in
yeah.
more ways
Go-
than one.
Right, and the government didn't do anything, and the government still doesn't do anything. You still
Exactly.
have volunteer firefighters who volunteer their time to go into burning buildings, and there's no health benefits. Granted, it's volunteer, and you have professional firefighters, and it's still barely any health benefits. So, yes, we're all kind
Angel,
of getting screwed on this.
Angel,
Now,
let me ask you that
but
because
real
you're in
quick,
politics. Go ahead, go ahead.
I just want to mention this one more thing. The one thing I was going to comment in regards to the statement, because I was digesting that a great deal. My father, right now, he was a veteran, Vietnam veteran. We're dealing with the VA right now. He can only go to the VA. If he goes to another hospital, he loses his health insurance.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you, this is what I just found out from on my end. Maybe it's different with you. The VA gets a kickback, and that's why.
So
It has
maybe
nothing to do with
I need
It has
to
nothing.
make some noise because it's ridiculous. So my dad was lost in the system, period, right? When he was working, he always used to say, I never go to the VA. It's always a problem. Didn't think much of it till like I said, I've always worked with veterans. When I went down there, saw his condition, went to the VA, they were telling me he doesn't exist. I'm like, oh, but yes, he does. Here's his DD 214, all this stuff, right? So now he gets in for the health care. He lives in Weeki Wachee near Pete, has to go to the Tampa VA, which that hospital, by the way, run amazingly. Every hospital should be run that way. Anyway, so like you said,
It's outside of USF.
everything is done in the VA. His skin cancer, everything that was ever done right there in the VA. So please explain to me why we're saying he's got tinnitus from being a helicopter door gunner, right? And he's got problems with his back because his helicopter crashed twice. They have all these records, but the VA contracts this other place called Optum Serve or something. They then say, okay, if you want your service connected benefits, you can only go to our doctors.
Yeah, but hang on, Angel, you're in politics, correct? You've been in for a while.
I'm getting into it. I've never been involved in Rhode Island politics. In fact, at one point, I wasn't even registered to vote for 15 years. I was so disgusted with both parties.
Okay.
In 2016, I didn't vote for either Trump or Hillary because I felt it was a choice forced upon me to choose either a neo-fascist or a neo-Stalinist. So,
you know the Constitution. You have to be in politics, correct? You know laws. You know.
So many people don't know.
No, okay. So I'm going to ask you a question. Was there not a president trying to push through a law? And I'm not putting the name. I want to see if anybody knows. Was there not a president that tried to push through a law and was blocked to where it said veterans can go anywhere they want to, even a walk-in clinic? Am I wrong in that assumption or in that finding? Because I remember someone ran on it and they tried to push it through to where a veteran can go to any hospital or any walk-in and still be covered.
Was it Reagan?
It was some president. I'm trying to remember the name. I don't want to quote it. I mean, I could quote it, but I don't want to be wrong. But I know there was some president that was.
It sounds like it might have been Reagan, but the medical lobby is just so strong that, and also, as you said earlier, the VA has a stranglehold on this particular demographic that they wouldn't allow that to happen.
And they have it on people with commercial insurance. I'm trying to get I'm pre-diabetic, so I'm trying to get on the Ozempic.
But that's different to what I'm talking about.
No, I know, but I'm saying it's Phil said something how it's all the medical is controlled. They don't want to give me a medicine that's going to prevent me from getting heart attack and blood clots and everything. They want to pay for the treatment after.
Right.
You understand what I have to
go out on
I have to jump through hoops to get the Ozempic. Now, my doctor might be giving it to me for my weight loss. I don't know. But why don't they want to pay for that? But they would rather pay for what do they call that test when they put the valve in you?
Because they'll make more money on you when you're sick.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's cynical, but they don't want a healthy population.
Right.
The way they don't want a well-educated population.
Right.
the way they don't want a financially solvent population.
Right.
I'm from the Bronx. I went to the
The
public
more
school
we know,
there, and back in the 80s, there were rats running around the campus of my high school. And well, you would think, well, all the money that New York City was spending, why wouldn't they spend a couple of bucks to bring in an exterminator? No, they didn't want these kids to be in an environment where they would succeed. A lot of the kids succeeded despite the environment they were in, as opposed to because of the environment that they were in. And that's the way that government works. And I hope that more people like Angel decide, well, maybe we really need to be doing something better, because this is not working. We have a lot of self-serving assholes who like to be on TV and like the sound of their voice, but then actually not doing anything to help you.
And that being said, I know I keep interrupting, but all I want to say is, Pete, I love you. You didn't serve our country. I didn't serve our country. I would be running the other way. So the people
I served our country. Shit, I did radio for 15 years.
that did, I mean, right now, only 1% of the population is enlisting, right? And our country is only as strong as our military, no matter what we say. If you don't have boots on the ground, there is no reason for people to enlist if they know they're getting treated like shit. They should have to come home after they serve proudly and say, you know what? Yes, I had PTSD. It'll take you a month or two. You get XYZ mental help, you got financial help, whatever. I'm a firm believer that my dad was not easy to grow up with. If he got the mental help and financial help that he was due, my childhood would have been different. So why are we not treating the people who, it pissed me off. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I know I'm always on a tangent, but Memorial Day, or no, D-Day, when they had all these veterans from World War I go to Normandy and they're all in wheelchairs and everybody's like, thank you for your service and celebrating them. That's fantastic. But you know what my first thought was? Gee, I wonder if they got their service connected benefits. I wonder who paid for their flight. Because they're just,
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Peter and Phil, you're going to think that this is crazy where I'm going out. As far as regards to the military, as far as it goes to our veterans, I think the United States government doesn't want to accept culpability for things like Agent Orange. They don't want to accept culpability for the building materials. And the second that they say we're going to help you, that's an admittance of defeat, that they did something wrong. And again, these guys who are running for office need to be gung-ho, Yankee Doodle dandy, love the troops, support the troops, until it comes to, facing these problems. Your father, God bless him for serving in Vietnam, the things that he encountered and the chemicals that he encountered. Again, not to get hippy-dippy here with the environmental side, but I want to know at what point, when are the two statistics going to line up? How many young men and women were killed in Vietnam versus how many are now dying because of the cancers that they are carrying in their bodies? And you know what? The same thing goes back to World War II. My great-grandfather, Vincent Mars Sr., came back. He fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He proudly told everybody how he was shot in the ass. Now, that's a fun,
you know what? I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry.
It sounds like a fun. It sounds like a fun. Yes.
I'm sorry. My little immature side. When people say Battle of the Bulge, I laugh. I'm sorry.
Because
Peter, you're taking those Olympics. Don't worry about
it. We know that, Pete. We still love you.
Okay.
With that in mind, you know what? That's an injury you never forget about. You can never not think about.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, you know what? When he got back, you know what? From what I was told, he was, until the day my cousin and my mother were born, he was he drank his problems away, because you know what? The accessibility to the VA is a disaster, and they didn't want to admit to being like, maybe we should have done things differently, and that theme continues on. And if they allowed some, if they said we're going to help these things, that's saying they did everything right. Or they didn't do everything.
Now they're saying that Agent Orange and the PACT Act is supposed to make it easier. Let me tell you, it doesn't. I had to write down, while my dad's going through all this stuff, how did Agent Orange affect you? So I had to ask my dad. And then it also asked you for PTSD, who got killed. And I said it under my breath. He was like, oh yeah, I could tell you who got killed. It was Evans. It was this. And as far as Agent Orange, I was a helicopter gunner. So we would fly rooftop right over the jungle. And this, it's fucking insane. If you can prove that you were there, why do you have to? I can get into a car accident today and get my claim solved quicker than somebody that served our country. That obviously war is not normal. You're seeing people get killed. You're inhaling fumes that you shouldn't be inhaling. It's just, crazy, but they have to jump through hoops, and it takes years for them to get a couple hundred.
You can end up on a 2-year waiting list for simple dental work.
Yes.
With the VA, the veteran, again, these are the guys that kept us from being, are keeping us from not being Americans, and we're treating them as though
we're
they're
treating
animals,
them as less than citizens.
pack animals.
Yeah.
I need to interject on something. I want to follow up with something that Phil said earlier, which is very important. You're talking about the military, and that's one aspect of the problem. It's a much greater problem. The thing is that we're no longer a constitutional republic, and we're no longer a free market system. We are currently a debt-driven economy with a fiat currency that's on the verge of collapse. This has been going on since 1916 when they had the Federal Reserve put in. It's been exacerbated problem-wise when they took us off the gold standard. The news did not make any commentary about the fact that the petrodollar agreement seems to have disappeared. That the Saudis now are focusing on trying to have a petro yuan because they know what the action is. The action is now in Eurasia.
The petrodollar agreement. I'm sorry.
The petrodollar is a deal that was made between Nixon and the Saudi government, where all oil that is bought from Saudi Arabia and OPEC in general will be bought by other countries using the dollar. And that's where the dollar got its global reserve. The problem, though, is that because we financialized the economy, we're having more and more problems that cannot be solved in the regular way. And what Phil said earlier about there's no incentive in having healthy people. The reason why is because they have to incentivize illness. Right. When the AMA was created over 100 years ago, the first thing they did, thanks to the Rockefeller Foundation, was to make sure that people were taking chemicals to help them out in medicine, stuff like that. And the AMA actively and aggressively went after naturopaths, went after chiropractors, went after anybody involved in natural medicine. When my father was suffering from back problems, he had to go to a chiropractor behind the scenes. He was almost like a criminal because you had to go behind the scenes, and they're still fighting them. And that's just health. The same thing applies with the military. The same thing applies with business. Remember, during the COVID, they shut down all the small businesses, but they kept the large corporations going. They didn't care about the people that were putting out of business who were small mom and pop outfits. They only cared about the large corporations. And at some point, the situation that we're facing economically, we're on the verge of a collapse. America is basically bankrupt, whether people like to admit it or not. And it's intentional. What they're trying to do is switch us over to digital dollars. They want us to get onto the blockchain. They want to make sure that they have control over what we can and can't do. And that was tested in a couple of other countries. If you saw what happened with the trucker strike in Canada, they decided to go, and what the truckers did was perfectly legal and was perfectly peaceful. But that didn't stop them from going after the truckers' finances, went after their banks, went after their credit cards, and even people who supported them in other parts of the country, they weren't there, they were penalized as well. So that gave you a heads up as to what's facing us. They want to make sure that we're still retained as serfs, we're still retained as consumers. They don't want us to be citizens anymore. The reason why they went after the police force, for instance, under the guise of Black Lives Matter, is because the police force takes a vow to the Constitution to defend us citizens. They want to get rid of the police so they can have private security forces who are not beholden to the Constitution because they
institute martial law. They want to institute martial law. That's exactly what they want.
But what is stopping 300 million? What is stopping 300 million Americans from saying I'm done? And a Democrat and a Republican band together and say we're done. We had a Revolutionary War one time. We had a Civil War. What's stopping the whole country from saying, I'm not prejudiced. I know you're not prejudiced. I'm not broke. I know you're not broke. Or I'm not this. I'm not that. Fox said I'm this, and CNN said I'm that. I'm not any of that. Fuck that. You saw a miniature of that on January 6th, but you saw it only on one side. What happens when everybody does it?
That's not going to happen for a while because,
to quote Golda Meir, we will only see peace once those who hate my children, or once the people who, once they learn to love their children as much as they hate mine, to some degree. I think it's much easier to go to create an enemy. It's much easier to create
Yeah,
it's
but
much
they
easier
don't
to go
realize,
against
Corey,
somebody
we
than it
live
is-
in a world, we live in a country where we drink and smoke. We're eventually all going to drink and smoke with each other and not be angry.
Right.
And we're going to
The
have
thing is,
conversations, right, Angel, or not?
Peter, I want to follow up on what you're saying because
Yep.
you're right. America was a proud.
Oh my God, I'm right.
They were a proud constitutional republic because the idea was the people is the ultimate authority. Every single individual has sovereignty to control their country, but that started to change right around the time of the progressive movement, where initially they tried to get on board with the Republican Party, because the Republican Party at that time under Teddy Roosevelt was viewed as the liberal party, and they were the dominant party at that time. So they decided to go after that, but they failed. So they decided to go over to Woodrow Wilson, and Woodrow Wilson was very happy to do whatever they wanted to do. So he was the one that instituted the IRS. He was the one that made sure that he wanted to dismantle our constitutional structure so that the people would vote for the U.S. senators, not the legislators, the way it was originally designed by the founding fathers. They wanted to make sure that they removed the type of checks and balances that was on our system, and they've been doing it ever since. And one way they want to do it is they no longer teach people to think for themselves in an educational
someone's
system.
stomach growling? Sorry.
That's Chris's
They
train.
want people to be brainwashed. That's why they took over the educational system. They took over the cultural systems. They took over all these things to gradually get people to become consumers, not citizens. And
Yeah, but Angel, do you see what's happening? France just turned all conservative.
Not all conservative, but
not all, but they're in a different direction.
Europe is moving to the European continent's moving towards the right.
Right.
But I think, but also in France as well as in England, and maybe here for that matter, and perhaps in Canada, that people are just getting sick and tired of the status quo. We're seeing as we're speaking now that the corporate media is now turning on its the people that it's been trying to keep in power. So after insisting that everything was hunky-dory at the White House, now we have oh my God, he's senile. What is he doing here? Get out of here. And so, and that's just when we're going to.
Yeah,
really,
so right there, Phil, that just proves that there's another party within the two.
Part of the issue is you don't have. Look, who was the last great leader that was a strategist that we had? We don't have any right now.
Great leader?
That's
great leaders.
A leader.
I'm going to say Reagan.
Eisenhower, maybe.
I'm talking about like a strategist. Yeah, like an Eisenhower, like a legit strategist. That's the other reason. This is the thing we have. And this is to compliment what Angel had expressed.
What's up,
We
Melly
need a group right now more than anything. We need a group right now more than anything to counter what's happening right now with the elites. But we have no actual leaders. There's no leaders. None.
Well, what few leaders we have, Chris, are fighting amongst themselves. The thing about the left is that they may have different approaches, but they're all unified on several key principles. The first thing is there is no God. There's only the will to power, as Nietzsche said. If there's no God, there's only the will to power.
Well, there's a God. They're calling Muhammad a God.
No, that's a different thing.
Well,
The left, the Western left, by and large, they're atheistic, and so they're materialistic, and so they have to create their heaven on earth. Now they have different approaches to it. Some of them are
Extreme left,
approaching
yes.
from
Not all lefts are like that. I'm not a left, but look, there's different types, and I understand what you're saying. But here's a small solution. Maybe this will work. I'm not a brainiac on this stuff, but what if we did have a president candidate that was Republican and a vice president candidate that's Democrat? Is that even possible?
No, it's
well,
not possible.
it is possible. They had that happened with Lincoln in 1864, but then they created something called the National Union Party. So Lincoln and Johnson, who was a Democrat, didn't technically run together. There was no Republican Party. Yeah.
No, but see, the thing about that, Phil, was that Johnson did not believe in breaking away from the Union. He was a pro-slavery Democrat, but he did not believe in breaking away from the Union. And they still, both Johnson and Lincoln still believed in the American experiment. Today, most of the Democrats don't. Most of the Democrats no longer believe in the ethos of the American Revolution. They believe in the ethos of the French Revolution. And when you take a look at what they're doing and how they're doing it, they're basically taking advantage of the systems that are available to them to promulgate the idea of the French Revolution.
I'm
the
sorry,
French
you got to
Revolution
break that down in English because I don't understand what the hell that means, and it sounds just like politicians speak. No offense. So, what do you mean? The French Revolution, where they cut people's heads off and shit?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
The French Revolution was influenced by
you are smart.
It was
Of
influenced
course
by
I'm
the
smart.
American
I'm more than just a pretty face.
And a pair of booms, yeah. Mhm.
What shook the world, the American Revolution shook the world because for the first time, colonies resisted the power of the crown. And at that point, that was an incredible thing to do. So that influenced the French revolutionaries because you had somebody like the Marquis de Lafayette, who supported us in the American Revolution, and he supported the French Revolution. But what they discovered to their horror, because Jefferson initially supported the French Revolution, what they discovered to their horror was that this was a different kind of revolution, where unlike the American Revolution that they believed in God, the French intellectuals and the philosophers did not believe in God. In fact, at one point they built an edifice to the God of reason. They decided they were going to get rid of the past, and that's why they had to exterminate the king and the queen and all the nobles. Not the Americans never believed in that. They just wanted to be left alone. The French revolutionaries believed in not only getting rid of the past, that's why they had to get rid of AC and DC. They had Thermidor 1, Thermidor 2, as far as their system was cut. They also had to launch the terror. And with the terror, they went after those nobles that left France and tried to find sanctuary in other countries. So they went after them. And the personification of that was Napoleon. When Napoleon decided to bring the revolution, whether they liked it or not, to overthrow the monarchies and to destroy the monarchies in Europe. Now, obviously that failed, but that inspired people like Marx. When Marx saw, hey, wait a minute, there are people out there that want to resist the elites. And so his idea was it's all economics. They didn't talk about that in the French Revolution, but Marx said that it is economics. And it was all theory. Lenin came along and said, Marx, you're all theory. You've got to have something practical. In order to overthrow the regimes and to avoid the problems of the French Revolution, you need to have like the vanguard of the proletariat. We, the smart people, the ones who are going to tell the proletariat what needs to be done.
I get it. I don't.
Hang on, guys, hang on 1 second while I got people watching. Next week we're back to comedy next week a little bit. By the way.
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
No, this is good. This is why PPRN is the way it is. Kay Rena will be on next week. She's going to be off from her. She's got a little tour going on down here in Atlanta and also up in Connecticut, and comedian Dave Sheehan. So we'll have two good comedians on next week. So along with Lisa and Phil. So tune in next week. What's up, Derek? Yeah. So go ahead.
I just want to finish my thought.
Go ahead.
When Mussolini was a socialist and he realized socialism as a theory was a failure, he embraced fascism. He and a couple of other Italians devised the idea behind fascism, which was inspired by the ancient world. Hitler was inspired by what was going on there. When people talk about the Nazis, they forget it's National Socialism. And Hitler did not agree in international socialism. He thought it didn't work. But he was inspired by Mussolini. He was inspired by the fascists. And his was a race-based form of fascism. In fact, he was so inspired by Napoleon, when they overthrew France, he made it a point to personally go to Bonaparte's tomb, because he felt that just as Bonaparte represented the will of the people, Hitler represented the will of the people with a new generation. The people that have taken over the Democrat Party are inspired by these people. They're inspired by the various revolutionaries that came after the World War II.
You know what's funny though? Do you know what's funny though, Angel? You said that Hitler, the group was fascist. You have kids out here now. I don't know who's teaching them history.
Yeah.
Calling other people that aren't Nazis fascists.
Well,
so,
fascist,
I don't understand this. I don't understand the backwards thinking of these universities.
The term evolved into
well,
something
there's
else
the
now.
first problem you have. It's a lack of thinking. You want to start with something. Right. It's the weaponization of language. It's not knowing about it's sorry.
No,
Corey gets excited.
Your party is formed by Hitler's and Mussolini's views that have to do with religion. Like, I'm so confused.
That's because there's too many people talking. But Corey, finish your thought, because Chris has one too.
Democrats to like Hitler and stuff. That's fucking crazy. No offense. Did I hear you wrong? Maybe I heard you.
No, Angel's on.
No.
Fascist party started with Hitler.
Right, but I thought you
No,
said
Mussolini. No, I will
Mussolini-
argue that. That was Mussolini in the 20s.
Mussolini came first. Hitler came afterwards.
But what did you say about the Democrats, and what does that have to do with it? And what is either of these? You said one had to do with God and one didn't. Hitler believed in God, and he killed a bunch of people, Jews.
No,
So,
No,
Hitler
didn't kill
Hitler
Jews?
rejected. Hitler
no,
rejected.
no.
Hitler
Hitler didn't really believe in
rejected
God. No.
religion, and what the party was the religion. That was his thing. He killed Catholics too.
And
basically, Hitler was Scientology, by the way.
well, Hitler believed. Remember, the Nazi Party, the fascist party in Italy, they were the wave of the future, and the same thing with the communists. The communists were the wave of the future, and they influenced the arts. When you take a look at somebody like Sergei Eisenstein was a committed communist, and he revolutionized editing. In fact, it was so revolutionary, it wasn't until MTV came along and applied some of his principles that we got to enjoy editing the way that we enjoy today. But it was created by
Film editing.
communists.
Yes.
And the thing is, when you take a look at sports today and how sports is presented and all that, the person that influenced that was a Nazi sympathizer. Leni Riefenstahl was the person that helped to popularize Hitler, and she popularized sports and stuff like that because she was a real fanatic about that. So,
And something, I can confirm that because I was years ago. I was down at Channel 5 in New York City, and they were going to be showing Olympia, which is the Riefenstahl film about the Berlin Olympics. And the producer at the station told me that in the 50s, when American television started broadcasting sports events, they used to screen that movie before, so the cameramen and the editors would know how to properly present track and field and swimming and equestrian, etc. So in that sense, it's a bit of film history, and TV history, which is correct.
Exactly. And the socialists, they understood that. When you go back to the Democrat Party, they're the ones that understood the power of film. The person, when he did the Klan movie, help me out on this film.
Griffith.
Birth of a Nation, D.W. Griffith.
Yes, D.W. Griffith. Griffith was a person that was influenced by a whole host of things. And one thing he was influenced by was this person who was pitching the book, The Klansman. And the author of The Klansman was tracking down Griffith because he knew how powerful Griffith's interpretation would be. And Griffith's interpretation was so powerful, it not only caused riots in Boston because they were protesting and stuff like that, it was used as an active recruitment tool for the Democrat Party. Because at that time, the Democrat Party was, listen.
It was shown in the Wilson White House. It was debuted.
It was shown in Woodrow Wilson's White House. Woodrow Wilson was a Democrat. When he got into the White House, he fired all the employees who were black in the White House who were hired by Republicans.
Woodrow Wilson was the worst president this country has ever had. Woodrow Wilson almost led us down the path of destruction. Woodrow Wilson was a racist, a bigot, an anti-Semite, and he didn't care about the future of his country.
That's right.
He was a college professor. He was a college professor. He believed in the past that he lived in, and he didn't care about his own things. I will say one thing with Mr. Wilson in mind, though. I would like to go back to one thing. You're talking to the greatest lover of Teddy Roosevelt in the world. I am not going to agree on the fact that Roosevelt's Progressive Party failed. Nor did they abandon it. Roosevelt did the right thing by running against President Taft, and I don't think they jumped over to Woodrow Wilson. He split the majority.
Yes.
Now, that ultimately led to disaster. Theodore Roosevelt should have had a second term. The Bull Moose Party was absolutely in the complete right of what they were trying to do. But Wilson, and again, this is what I was trying to say before. We have weaponized language. We have weaponized the term progressive. We have weaponized and we have unlearned what fascism means. Trust me, if there's anyone right now who wants to talk about, being misunderstood and people, especially members of academia going against what true language is, and I believe it enters that territory.
Bottom line, though, we are in a country that we all built ourselves.
When the Nazis were putting together their program on racial hygiene and stuff like that, they were influenced by the Democrats.
Eugenics.
They were eugenics.
Anne Frank did not die because of the Nazis, because of Nazi anti-Semitism and Nazi beliefs. Anne Frank was killed because of American beliefs.
No, the thing is that
were influenced.
the South had systems in place so that if you had like 1/4 of black blood in you, you were this. If you had 1/2 of black blood in you, you were that. And Mark Twain had a novel that dealt with passing for black, and it was very controversial at the time. But it influenced the Nazis. The Nazis couldn't believe that you could racially classify people by the amount of blood that they had in them, and they were blown away by the racism of the Democrat Party. At that time.
Are we going to overlook the fact that Lisa's sitting in a chair that's like 10 times bigger than her? Look at that
Peter,
chair.
but that's the thing, Peter.
At the
We
beginning of the show, it's like the big comfy couch, but I'm just listening.
I was going to say, it's
No,
like
but here's the
chairs that you
thing.
sit on, like
I didn't mean to cut you off, Angel, but here's the thing. We all live in a great country. We're all building this country together. Why is everybody want to make the best country in the world in history? Why do they want to annihilate it?
They're also getting rid of the. They're also getting rid of the history too.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you, what's astonishing to me is you have queers for Palestine, and they don't even realize they'd be thrown off the top of a fucking building if they went to Palestine. I don't understand this. We have people. We have people that are amazing in sports that are of every color, race, and everything. We dominate the world when it comes to sports, and we want to ruin it. Why do we want to be such a great company and want to ruin it on top of it? That's what I don't understand.
What's happening in Israel, you can only understand through a Marxist lens. The way that the students are understanding the fight in Israel is that the Palestinians are the proletariat, and that the state of Israel is the bourgeoisie. Crushing the proletariat, and that they need to be destroyed. They need to be overthrown.
But Angel, hang on. Israel's the most far left fucking country in the Middle East.
Doesn't matter.
And these fucking college elites or whatever you want to call them are fighting it. Like they can go to Israel and they can hold hands.
Peter, because they're easily influenced.
They're influenced by cultural Marxism. Remember.
Oh my God! You know what it is? We ain't beating our.
They're influenced by Iran's dollars getting funded into these universities.
But Angel, hang on. You have kids that are fighting America, saying if we're gay, we're outcasted. You hate us. But if they went to Palestine, they'd be thrown off a roof. Where is the these same kids that say 2 + 2 is 5, and if you say no, they're like you're racist. Like, what the fuck happened? What happened?
What they need to know is I've got there's an old joke I grew up hearing. A Zionist
Bro, what your generation needs to do is to listen more, Corey. Your generation doesn't listen enough. That's the damn issue. That is the damn issue. You don't listen enough.
Corey does. Corey does.
Think of all this youth crap. Fucking A.
This what crap?
The
generation.
I will argue. There's assholes like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you're talking about right
He's
now,
old.
man. You're just talking words because you read something.
Folks,
Chris, actually, Corey's actually one of us.
Yeah, folks, can I make a suggestion? Corey, do you have a guitar available maybe to give us a song to lighten up the mood?
I can find one.
Go find one.
Let's talk about Angel and Chris while they're on here, by the way, too. Corey's waiting. Angel, are you doing any new projects in filming or no?
Well, I am going to Nashville the first week of August.
Bring your liver with you.
I'm going to be going down there to my producer and I are going to be working on one song for a movie that I hope to do back in 2025. I'm also pulling out an old album that I worked on. We kind of mothballed it for a while, and my producer feels that it would be really good to bring it back again. So we're going to recut it, remix it, remaster it, and stuff like that. So that'll be in August. I'm involved in the campaign. Once Labor Day starts, I'm just going to be full out on the campaign. After the campaign is over, depending on what happens, I hope to make a movie that's based on a tragedy regarding, and it's going to be probably a short, about people that have been lied to themselves regarding the COVID vaccine, regarding the nature of the vaccines and all that, and have that as a thriller type thing, probably about 15, 17 minutes long. We hope to get the thing shot sometime in the spring and then release it as soon as it's made. That's the game plan for right now.
And Chris, you have a meet this weekend, correct, in Torrington?
Yeah,
call them Nate. What do they call them?
pro wrestling match. I'm going to be going up there, going against Richie Rich from WWE, former WWE wrestler. Used to go against Bret the Hitman Hart in a grudge match. Probably going to beat the shit out of him. I don't care. The documentaries I'm working on right now, I have a women's wrestling documentary I've been working on for the past 15 years. I'm the co-founder of the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame, also the co-founder of New England Music Hall of Fame. We're going to be doing a giant concert eventually later on in the year. The one we just did was in Arlington, Massachusetts. We successfully partially united survived members of the band Boston. Donna Summer's sister came to induct in Donna Summer. We were written up in the Boston Globe for that. Going to be inducting in Al Copley, Grammy Award winner Al Copley. We're going to be inducting Al Copley into the New England Music Hall of Fame at Musqueamachet Beach. And we're inducting the Fools at the estate where Witches of Eastwick was filmed in Massachusetts. And then working on a couple other documentaries in the Bollywood film with Bijou Viswanath.
Great. Where in Torrington is the wrestling match going to be?
Good question.
Okay. Always come prepared to an interview.
Fade to black.
1 minute.
Okay,
1
he's
minute.
looking it up. Okay.
Hold on. It is located 152 Litchfield Street, Torrington, Connecticut. So 150.
Okay,
Yeah, 152 Litchfield
Oh, that's
Street.
on the way to. That's actually 63.
Yeah, I think it's the Columbus Club, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the Columbus Club, Peter?
Yeah, Litchfield Street was where Cablevision is.
It's
Yeah.
63, not 69.
It's so if you're coming from Litchfield, Lisa, it's that main road into Torrington.
That was a joke.
Oh, when
63 is the guy who had lost his knuckles.
Okay, and Corey is posed with his Woody Guthrie type of deal. What's going on?
Absolutely. Though, if you're New England Music Hall of Fame, I want to advocate for the Wild Weeds. I want to.
You know what, Corey? Fuck your generation.
Corey, just don't. I'm going. I can't stand him.
And he's gone.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry, Corey. I was just joking.
Okay, Corey, what you got for us?
I don't think he said anything
So
wrong.
this is not a song by the Wild Weeds from the 60s, you know, because of my youth and inexperience, as Mr. Reagan would have put it. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right when everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds. They're getting so much resistance from behind. I think we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the streets, singing songs and carrying signs, mostly saying hooray for our side. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Strikes deep into your minds, it'll creep. It starts
That's when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Oh, 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 oh.
By the way, I love your
Once
turn, Rob.
again, if you guys are tuning in next week, K-Rena is very funny, and also Dave Sheehan is very funny. Lisa, you're gonna get along with K-Rena, I think.
Let's hope so. I get along with everybody.
Yeah, well, she likes women. Just saying.
Oh.
Just saying. You know what's Phil, I think you and I talked about this before. We always said PPRN shouldn't include politics.
Yep.
You were right.
But you know, I think it was.
It was
It's
a
an
nice discussion. It
It's
It was a
interesting.
nice discussion, but
If
you
we
always
don't
got
talk-
that one.
Yeah, if we don't talk about the subject, then it festers like a sore. And at least we have the ability to share our opinions. People can agree with us, people can disagree with us, but we can disagree with each other. But you know, I'm glad that someone like Angel is putting his money where his mouth is and going into politics and trying to get on the ballot. And we need more people really to be serious, whether running for office or getting involved in civic matters or getting involved in nonprofit causes for the greater good. And I mean, it's fun to do the dick jokes and the other crazy stuff we usually do, but every now and then we just have to remind ourselves that we have to at one point stop amusing ourselves endlessly and take our society much more seriously.
And I don't
Phil,
remember
you're-
Corey saying anything off brand. So
You are the new William Buckley.
no, you
I
know
wouldn't
what
go
it
that
is. I don't
Again,
remember you
by
saying
the way,
anything he
I'm
should
sorry,
agree with.
my youth.
Corey, I
I'm
was
sorry.
defending
I'm
you,
voting
man.
William Buckley.
Corey, I was defending you. I don't remember you saying anything that would have made him be upset. That's my point. I think he was just getting upset
Agreeing with him, so
and just kept like being upset and picked on you because you're a millennial, apparently.
yeah.
Wow.
You
So-
can't
Again,
please
trust me,
everybody. I thought
I-
it was an interesting conversation. It was.
Did you learn anything though, Lisa?
Passionate. I actually did, yeah. I mean, I always knew that the Republican Party kind of started off liberal. There was some things I didn't know about Woodrow Wilson, and I also learned that Phil likes to amuse himself constantly, and he wants to stop doing that.
Thank you, Bob. Bob said you didn't do anything wrong.
Is
Nobody
that why
got
his,
that
his
except for
camera's
me and
only
you,
above
Phil.
the shoulders?
You know what? Though I haven't talked to Angel in years, and here he is running for. I'm going to tell you right now, dude. You got some balls. Rhode Island is tough.
You know what I thought was
Rhode Island
interesting?
is
That
tough,
Angel's
dude.
name
Dude.
says
If
Angel
you
Connell.
listen, Angel, if you win this, I'm going to fly you to Florida and interview myself, and I'll pay for it because Rhode Island is tough when you are.
It's tough, but the thing is that the Republicans have to take a page or two from the Democrats, especially the socialists, because the socialist approaches things from the point of view of scientific materialism, and they believe in the permanent revolution. This goes back to Mao. And even if I don't make it this time around, I got to try it again and again and again. And I got to try different things that are different from what the Republican Party normally does. And that includes having the type of party that I want to belong to. There's a lot of good things about the Democrats. There's a lot of good things about the Republicans. I think we can bring together so that we bring people together. That's the key thing. You know, whether if you got a D next to your name or an R next to your name, whether you're male, female, straight, gay, whatever, you know, we all are Americans. We all love America. We love American culture. And I think we need to have a political party that reflects the genius of the American people, the goodness of the American people, and the greatness of our country.
We love Lisa's hairdresser too.
Thank you.
What'd she do? Like curl it or something?
Just like a guy. Yes, it just made my curls more popping, as they say. So, for the summertime, because usually I just have my hair in a ponytail because it's just easier.
I think Phil likes your fashion designer.
No, I don't. I mean, I like the low cut. This is too parochial. I need to see more.
Those are my sexy shoulders.
Oh, the shoulders are not. Shoulders are nice, but it's what's up front that counts. Yeah.
The buttons on her shirt.
You know, Peter. Come on.
I'm a married man. I can't look there.
I can't. I want to see a little tit for tat going on here.
No pun intended, right? No pun intended.
I'll be tat. Okay, so
no tit for a tat. Okay.
I guess if he's tat, then you know what I am.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
Angel, back to his Bryan Cranston mode. He doesn't know what to say.
I've got plenty to say. It doesn't matter what you want to hear.
He's been up with each other before.
Lisa, what I would say to you is do some research on our country's history. You would be amazed at what you're not taught in schools and
There's
what's
a
going
lot
on.
we're not taught in schools, and especially Black history. That's not really taught in school, except everybody learns Martin Luther King and who's the one who saved the slaves? Harriet Tubman. That's it.
No, well, Harriet Tubman was actually a Republican, and so was Frederick Douglass.
Doesn't matter if she freed slaves. That's what I mean. I don't care about their religious affiliation.
The reason why the liberals will never do a movie on Frederick Douglass is because how much he hated the Democrat Party. The fact that he was married twice, first to a black woman and then to a white woman, which at that time was revolutionary.
Damon, I'm going to make sure that we do a Frederick Douglass movie is going to get done.
Hey, I'm more than happy to do the screenplay. More than happy to get it made because that guy was an incredible American.
And in today's world, Lisa can play Frederick Douglass.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you can just identify as a guy for the movie.
I don't think I'm as attractive as Frederick Douglass was.
Pull your hair back, you'll be fine.
Wow, I take that as an insult. I would like to think that I'm better looking than Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman.
Yes,
you're just playing an actor. They can make people pretty or ugly. It don't matter. You see what they did to Robert Redford. It's fine. And if you guys didn't know, people watching, Corey, did you know this? It was Robert Redford and Jane Fonda made a movie in Waterbury, Connecticut.
I remember that when
Harry Met Sally.
Yep.
Wait, Robert Redford and Jane Fonda were not in.
Was it Robert Redford? Who was in When Harry Met Sally?
That was a Jew. That was what's his face. That was
Ryan and the other guy.
Who?
Jesus Christ! Oh my
That
God!
was Robert Redford.
No.
No, Robert. No. Wait, Jesus Christ! Why can't I think of his name?
Ryan and the guy.
Tom Hanks, wasn't it?
No.
No. It was
Forgot the movie.
Jesus Christ!
You people.
I'll look it up.
God, I'm a terrible.
That's racist.
Who was in When Harry Met Sally?
Here it is. When Harry Met Sally. Billy Crystal.
Yes, thank you.
There we go.
So
There we go.
Ryan.
Oh, what the one Jane Fonda was in? It was in Waterbury then.
It wasn't that
On Golden Pond?
I think
No, the way we were.
Say that too.
The way we were.
No,
that's Barbara Streisand.
They did a scene with he was pedaling a bike and she sat on the basket.
That's Butch Cassidy. That wasn't made in Waterbury.
Oh, hold on a second.
Wait, wasn't that when she toured the Viet Cong?
Jane Fonda wasn't in that movie either. So
that wasn't a movie that she just did that.
What
oh my God. It just went
Stanley and Iris. I'm sorry.
Stanley and Iris. That's not
Stanley and Iris.
Robert De Niro.
That was Robert De Niro, Robert Redford.
I think Robert Redford would be very offended by this conversation. Robert Redford was always known for being attractive.
Martin Ritt was the. It was Robert. No, it was De Niro.
Of course, it was De Niro.
Yeah.
And they filmed it on South Main Street. They filmed it on South Main Street. But we are also known. They filmed it on South Main Street in Holy Land, by the way. But Connecticut's also known for Dylan McDermott, and also the very first Friday the 13th was filmed in over by it wasn't Bantam Lake, it was the lake over. It was Lake Warmog in what the hell? Washington? Was it Washington? No, where's Warmog? Preston, in New Preston.
Preston, yeah.
New Preston, Connecticut was the first Friday the 13th.
Wait, really?
And the casinos are still on the hill. The film where they showed the casinos, those buildings are still on the hill over Lake Warmog.
Phil, Amistad was shot in Connecticut, wasn't it?
Yes, it was in New Haven.
Because
Amistad
was
I
really
didn't hear
good.
your question. I'm sorry.
Amistad. The Scorsese.
Amistad, yes, Amistad. I think was the replica of the ships in Connecticut. I don't know where the movie was made.
I have a funny joke about Amistad. We had a guy named, remember Bob Edwards, Phil?
Oh yes, Storytime Bob. Yes.
Wow.
He's very old, Lisa. He's like almost 78, 79. And he's like, oh yeah, this is his voice. He's like, oh yeah. They used to call me and ask me to go do happy hour on the Amistad. So like we had a black guy. We had a black guy on the show, the gay black guy, and he's like, wait a minute. They asked you to go play happy hour on the Amistad ship? He's like, yeah, we used to do it every Friday.
Wow.
The actual Amistad is,
About the Amistad.
the Amistad is parked in New Haven, if you didn't know that.
Jesus
And
Christ.
he said they used to play happy hour and they do cruise ships throughout the New Haven harbor. And he would get so mad because we were like, Bob, they don't even commission the Amistad no more. It just sits in the water. He's like, no, I swear to God, we used to do Friday nights happy hour.
That's frightening. That is frightening how well you're doing his voice.
Cocaine.
Jesus Christ. He walked out every other week on the show.
I was on a walkout show. I was on a Bob walkout show.
Are you
Apparently, I
maybe you're
caused
the
two
common-
people to walk off of this show.
I was gonna say you're the common denominator why people walk off, I guess, huh? You know what? I gotta go
Because
too.
I'm Jewish, isn't it? It's because I'm Jewish.
It wasn't because of me. Oh yeah, you are the common denominator, Corey, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, once he found out you were Jewish, that
Like
was a
that.
wrap. He's done. He's leaving.
Wait, you're Jewish?
Yeah, Ryman?
Oh my God, I gotta go. No, I'm kidding.
His hair parted to the left didn't give it away?
Hey, if we
I didn't
learned
know that was-
anything tonight, there is nothing parting to the left with me.
Not even
Or
the
parting from the left, perhaps. But
At my age, everything parts to one direction. So, Hey, Angel, what district are you in?
State Senate District 5 in Rhode Island.
District 5. So if anybody's listening in Rhode I got friends in Rhode Island. So a guy who actually used to do a show on PPRN, I-95 Rock and Roll, whatever that channel is. If you guys are listening, give Angel a. You still got to register, right? Or are you in the race?
I got to get it on the ballot, and I'm short some signatures. If I don't get those signatures, I don't get on the ballot. And the ballot signatures are due this Friday at 4:00 at City Hall.
So what is the salary for a state senate or state congress?
It's a part-time job, and it's really not that much money to it. And they're trying to make it a full-time job. I don't believe in that.
So you're not making a living of it. You're going to still have a job.
No, I'm not. I don't intend to be a professional politician. That's what destroys politics.
Okay.
I've got no interest in monetizing political service.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise was filmed in Naugatuck.
Oh, that I remember.
The horrible fourth Indiana Jones movie was also in New Haven, filmed at Yale.
And that Stepford Wives was also filmed in Connecticut, too.
I have a story with that. When I was in 5th grade, my buddy Jeff Lewis, the two of us, both of us, gigantic Indiana Jones fans. Again, as a lover and studier of history, I always thought that him being an archaeologist and kicking Nazis' asses was always great. I loved Indiana Jones. Phenomenal. So the two of us find out that they are going to be shooting in New Haven. Now, I don't know how we convinced both of our mothers to let us take the day off from school. They were going to take us, drive us into New Haven until we found out we had to be 18.
Aww.
Do you know how devastating to the 10-year-old, the two 10-year-olds who really, really wanted to even be near Harrison Ford? Like, that was devastating. I didn't care about being in a movie. I wanted to just be there to be like, this happened in my state, an Indiana Jones movie in my state. Sick.
Your mom should have found a way to sneak
So that
you
will
in. What
always
kind
have
of
a
a mother
fond
was
place in
she?
my heart.
You know, I'm surprised they never filmed the movie on Satan's River up there.
Satan's
that
Kingdom.
little
Oh,
Satan's
man.
Kingdom, yeah.
The best tubing in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is.
And one more less fact: the two of the hijackers in 9/11 were training in Naugatuck too.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they were training in the gun range up at High Rock, Lisa.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that I never knew. That's crazy.
Yep. That's how. Listen, Naugatuck got some history, girl.
I know. None of
We
it
have a
did.
we have a star too. Michael Bergen was on Baywatch.
Oh yeah. Did you just call him Bourbon?
Bergen.
Oh, I thought you said Bourbon.
No.
Yeah, he was hot. He's still
And
hot.
Waterbury, as a matter of fact, just actually named a street to Dylan
We have,
McDermott.
another,
place, so.
we have another great Michael. We have another great Michael, a great Italian, Michael Bultino. Mr.
Oh,
Michael Bolton.
and what's his name from What's Happening is from Waterbury.
Oh yeah, Dwayne.
Yep.
That I remember.
John Mayer.
Kenny G.
John Mayer's from Waterbury?
No,
No,
he's a Greenwich boy.
Oh.
What about John Mayer doesn't scream he's from Greenwich?
Henry Winkler.
He doesn't scream that he's from Waterbury.
The first Mickey Mouse watch, like those famous the Mickey Mouse watches that like everyone has at one point. The first one was made in Waterbury.
No. You don't know history, Corey, until you gotta live in Naugatuck and be broke, and your mother gives you $4 to go buy sneakers for school, and you have to walk all the way to Uniroyal and jump in the bins. And the left bin was the left sneaker, and the right bin was the right sneaker. And you had to find the matching ones and the matching size. But you got Keds for $4 back in the day. Remember, Lisa?
I remember.
Did you jump in those bins too?
I didn't jump in those bins, no, but I do remember my dad taking us to Railroad Salvage.
We still have one in West Haven.
Yeah, but he wanted us to get school clothes from there. I was like, no, thank you. I'll just
My
wear
mother would give me $10. We would go to Uniroyal. I'd get 2 pairs of sneakers, and she's like, "Bring me the change." And on the way home, I'd walk by the pop shop, and I would come home with a case of soda for less than $2.
Back in the day, you could go to 7-Eleven. I used to get my mom Virginia Slims menthol cigarettes for 75 cents. I was probably like 8 years old.
You've gone a long way, baby. You've gone a long way.
Exactly. Yep. You've come a long way, baby.
You can't buy it in Massachusetts no more, though.
Phil, remember
Which again,
when
my youth and unintelligence and knowledge of the world definitely would allow me to know about "You've Gone a Long Way, Baby."
What'd you say?
Phil, remember when you could watch the Led Zeppelin concerts when we were younger for just $7?
No.
Oh!
Where? At New Haven Coliseum?
Anywhere in New England. Back in those days, you could go over and watch them for $7, $9, whatever it was. Now, of course, back then rock and roll was working class music.
Right.
It's not anymore. You know, they basically upgraded it so that the wealthy can watch people like the Beatles or the Stones or Led Zeppelin, but the regular working people can't.
And that if you know what? If there is one thing you can take to the Senate, concert reform, like the stuff, ticketing, things like, I am all here for because you know what? Sporting events, concerts, things like that. Those are the things that make us Americans.
Yep.
Those are the things. Baseball used to be this, I hate the pitch clock. I hate the pitch clock. It ruins the Americanness of baseball. Baseball was the first time that every regular human could take a day off from work to go. You spent the day at the ball game. It didn't matter how long the game was. It wasn't a sport that had a constraint. That game could go until the game was over. You went, you got a cheap hot dog, you got a cheap beer, and you went for it. What happened to that?
I'll tell you what happened, Corey, is that once we started getting into the financialization of the economy, then everything had to have a financial outcome. That's why you had to have unions. The unions were people were being exploited, so the unions had to fight back against the corporate interests that were trying to squeeze as much labor as they can for as cheap a price as they could. And that's what's happened with entertainment. It's what's happened with sports, where everything has to be.
Why we lost the fucking Whalers?
Well, the thing is that back then, people enjoyed life because they didn't have the economy was not financialized the way it is today. That's the reality. That is our debt-driven system, and that's why people are miserable.
You're upset about the Whalers. We lost George Jefferson.
Yes.
Dance moves. We lost Good Times dance moves. Go to my page. You'll see that
What
video.
about the whole Soul Train line?
We lost Soul Train. American Bandstand. What's that show they used to do? Wakadoo.
American Bandstand was
Was it Wonderama? Yeah.
Wonderama.
You know what you never had, Corey, in its shows. You never had magic. You never had Magic Garden, to where the two girls were stoned and they got on the swing and you sat there and you waited for them to say your fucking name. That's what you want. That's what you're missing in life. And when they didn't say your name, you cried the rest of the day. I'm right here. It's Peter. I'm right here.
No, you're not. We lost you, Peter.
Lost you,
We lost Stephen Sondheim. We lost.
Okay. I think we've the charm's wound its course, so I think maybe it's time for us to bid everyone good night.
Yeah, just you guys can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Can't see you. You're in the
Yeah,
dark.
I'll figure that out. Go ahead and play us out, Corey. Don't forget next week, K-Rena and Dave Sheehan will be on the show along with Phil and Lisa.
Cool. Nice hanging out, guys.
All right.
Same here.
Again, my name is Corey Ream, apparently I will never get into the New England Music Hall of Fame. That doesn't mean I'm not going to keep advocating for the Wild Weeds, the Modern Lovers, the Jay Giles Band, Big Al Anderson in general. This is a song. This is a song about apologies you don't need to give. I know you're trying to sleep upstairs. I know it's getting late. I'm sorry if I woke you. There's something I mistake. I'm sorry that I treated you wrong. I know I'm some kind of monster, a selfish wannabe. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just want you to be free. I'm so sorry that I treated you wrong. I know it's me who should be in front of the barrel. I know it's me who should be locked in some cage. Oh yeah. Like some child, I keep you shackled from ever going your own way. Please put me in my place, tell me I'm out of tries. Be as harsh as you can, I've got no right to cry. I'm so sorry that I treated you wrong. I'm so sorry it took me so long to give you the song. I'm so sorry that I treated you wrong.
Bob Clark, thank you, Corey. Bob Clark, get better, feel better, everybody.
Free the
CYC,
hostages. There's still 5 Americans over there.
CYC, E-Prods, thank you. I don't know what his name was, but sorry. Thank you for listening. Thank you to everybody in the thread. Thank you to Melvin. Thank you to
Rick Grant, if you're there, thanks for tuning in
Rick
from
Grant.
Wisconsin.
Thank you, Rick
Grant.
Grant.
Rick Grant was beginning of the show. I worked with him, and he tuned into. I think the first time he watched me doing
He
this.
did, and Alan Kelly was on it too. So I want to thank everybody. Corey, thanks for coming in and chasing off our guest. Angel was always.
I'm sorry for ruining your party.
Yeah, well, you should be older, damn it.
You're sorry, not sorry.
Your damn
All right,
generation, you
guys,
scare
hanging out.
people off.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm more mature than my years.
Lisa, where are you going to be this weekend?
I'm going to be at Aldo's in Middlebury, 6 to 9.
All those in Middlebury. You can catch Phil on the Nutmeg Chatter on Sundays at WAPJ if you are in the area. What time is that in the area?
It's 3 p.m. Sunday on WAPJ FM, but go over to nutmegchatter.com. The show will be online by 3:30 on Sunday. So I don't know how many people watching this are in Torrington, but most of the people on the internet go over to nutmegchat.com and you can enjoy it.
You have a topic this week?
This coming week, we have Carl Higbee as our guest. He has a show on Newsmax, and he has a new book that came out about American history. So it was an entertaining interview.
Okay, good. Angel, anything you want to share besides your run for local Senate?
No, that's about it. I have to get signatures tomorrow, and then I got to deposit them all on Friday. And then I'll find out next week if I get it on the ballot or not. If I don't get on the ballot, so be it. But if I
Can
do
I
get on the
can I give you a can I give you a tip?
Shoot.
Find you a Portuguese neighborhood. You will get 1,000 signatures. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Find you a Portuguese neighborhood.
If they're in the district, sure. But if
Okay.
they're not in the district,
There's got to be a Portuguese neighborhood in your district somewhere. Goddamn it, it's Rhode Island.
oh yeah. Well, take a look at the map behind me. That's a gerrymandered map.
Just Google Portuguese restaurants near me, and that's where all the dudes will be. And their wives will be looking for the husbands at the bar. So they'll give you some signatures. Trust me. Majority of the Portuguese people are Republicans. So what, Corey?
He quoted Edmund Burke before. I would love to give one thing there. Your representative owes you nothing, not his industry only, but his judgment. And he betrays you instead of serving you if he sacrifices it to your opinion.
That's right. Very true.
You're so smart, Corey.
And Chris hung up.
Okay, folks.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Stay black, y'all. How's that?
Always.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Good night. Bye. All right, Phil. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Angel. Good luck on
Thank you,
what you're doing. Thanks for